This has to be the real cartridge, though even now I don't know what to think of it just yet. Everything so far has just been weird glitches, and now the game just throws a whole new world at me? Guess I'll have to move on to the board. Arbitrum's board is orange, and looks a lot like the Earth board, but some of the spaces seem to be missing. From what I can see, the 3 new level types are a gravestone, a shell, and a volcano. I think I'll go to the grave icon first. The grave icon is a graveyard. Pretty obvious, I know. It's a pretty dreary looking level, and as you can see, there are graves all over the level. I can't really interact with them, but I can just barely see some scribbles on them that look a bit like names. The music here, if you can even call it that, sounds like an abandoned factory with the occasional loud noise that sounds like a metal object being dragged across the floor. It's pretty unpleasant to listen to, so I should turn the volume down whenever I enter one of these levels. The stage enemies are these angry ghosts, and they attack by stabbing you with their arms. They don't do much damage on their own, but they can get pretty damn annoying when they attack you in groups. Now there's fog rising in from below. I don't have a good feeling about this. The fog is covering the screen, making it a bit difficult to see what's going on. The screen darkening doesn't help either. Hopefully the exit is near. Ah! What the hell? Some giant hand is trying to drag Mothra down. My health is getting really low, but mashing my controls won't get me free. Well, that was a load of shit. I just lost Mothra. I don't know how I could have avoided that. I think I'll go to the shell icon next. I'd better be careful, since it'll probably be game over if I lose Godzilla, especially since I don't know if I have a second chance at it. Turns out the shell icon is a beach, and it looks a lot more pleasant than the grave level. The music, though, is rather depressing, though there is also a subtle flare of red as well. Lots of shells and fish parts are littered all over this place, though no enemies just yet. So far, there's not much to say about this level. Until a bunch of these little crab enemies hop towards me. These guys are pretty weak though. They take less hits than the ghost to kill you, and their only attack is to try to jump towards you. Eventually, they all scattered away and this big crab arrived. He's quite a bit stronger than the smaller crabs, and his primary attack is to lick you? That's pretty weird, but I'm not really going to question it. The crab mini-boss wasn't too hard. All it took to beat him was some punches and a heat beam to the head. Once I beat him, his head fell off and his body disintegrated, as you can see above. Wait, who's that green spiky guy? Anguillus? I don't think I've ever seen this guy in the original game before. I'll give him a try in the next level. Anguillus plays a lot like Godzilla, though he is much faster and has a different looking heat beam that's also more narrow than Godzilla's. He seems promising so far, though I'm still a little pissed about losing Mothra. The volcano level is quite different to what I expected. I'm on a small platform and a huge lava lake. I guess I could be inside the volcano? Not sure. Can't really go anywhere beyond the platform, so I guess I'll just wait around and see what happens. I waited about a minute and holy shit! This huge lava monster came out from the lava. It attacks by punching you and slamming its arms down onto the platform. The lava monster's sprite looks surprisingly good for the NES, looking and moving a lot like something from those Donkey Kong games on the SNES. Its arms are a weak point, though this guy definitely was one of the toughest enemies so far. It's a good thing he left a health capsule when he died, since I only had 1.5 life bars left. Now, I have a bit of a choice. Go and fight the bosses, or retry the graveyard level to see what the deal with it is. I guess I'll go to the graveyard level first with Godzilla, but I'd better be careful to not end up getting dragged to my death again. This time around, there were only a few ghosts, and no fog. However, there is a new grave, which has a question mark on it. I have a feeling this will be another boss fight. Yep, another boss fight. Once this creature emerged from behind the mystery grave, his tail lit up, summoning a few ghosts. I can't really attack him though, since he just dodges whenever I try to hit his head. Legs don't take any damage. Turns out he has another attack, lashing out with a long tongue, or is it mouth parts, to try to bite me. While his tongue is out, I can actually attack him. Heat beam should do a good amount of damage. The boss is very predictable. He simply alternates between the two attacks I showed, so there's not much of a strategy here. Just kill the ghost and attack the tongue. When I defeated him, the creature disintegrates, much like the crab boss from before. Now that I visited all the new level types, it's time to fight the monster bosses. When I decided to fight against Mogira, here, a little versus screen shows that shows the monsters, their health, and levels, and what I assume is an EXP bar. Weird that I don't see any EXP bars in the levels, but oh well. Mogira may be tall and strong, but it's pretty easy to avoid this fire attack since he can only fire it at a specific angle. Damn! That was unexpected, and Guylus was sent flying by Mogira's kick, taking almost half of my health in the process. Fortunately, he was also rather low on HP, so he was only able to do that attack once. The next boss is Manila. I think I can expect to see this screen from every boss here on out. Entering the fight, and he's just standing there. I can also barely see something that looks like a hand in the darkness. All of a sudden, Manila started attacking me in this new form. While he doesn't have much health, he is very fast and has attacks that are similar to Godzilla. When I defeated Manila, he didn't sink below the screen like a normal boss. Instead, he latched onto the ceiling and crawled away. Creepy. Now that all the bosses are defeated, all that's left to do is enter the base level. Here goes. The base level, much like the volcano level, is much different than what I expected. I'm in some sort of desert with a volcano in the background. The enemies here are various satellite dishes that don't move, but come in two different types. The smaller ones are just obstacles, while the larger ones shoot lasers at you. The timer is 1 minute and 30 seconds, so I better get through this level fast. I don't know if I'll have a second chance at it. Going through the level, and... is that Anguilus? What is he doing here? No time to think about it now, there's less than a minute with me. At the end of the level, there is some sort of structure with Anguilus peeking out. There are some enemies from the previous levels rushing towards the door, along with two creatures I've never seen before. Only a few seconds left, so all I have to do is go inside. Once the timer runs out, the structure closes up and lifts off. I guess it's a spaceship of some sort? When the spaceship leaves the screen, this cutscene plays. Damn, it's a good thing I made it just in time, otherwise I would have lost Godzilla. Once the cutscene ends, I'm sent back to the main menu. Gonna turn off the game for now. So far things have definitely been interesting, and a bit creepy at times, but nothing too malicious. So far. I feel like I've only scratched the surface of this game so far, but for now I'm gonna take a break to think things over. It's been some time since I last touched the cartridge, and since then I've had some questions going through my mind. For one, what was that hand I saw when I fought Manila? And will Mothra ever come back? Guess there's only one way to find out. On the second world. Already I can see that one of my questions have been answered. Mothra isn't there, and I assume she's not going to come back. Anyways, Glacius is a cyan board, and there's 5 distinct level types, which are a mountain, another mountain, but looks like water is around it, a castle, probably made out of ice, a wall of ice of some sort, and finally, some sort of structure. No idea what it's meant to be, but I assume it's the exit. The closest level type to me is the mountain with no water, so I'll go there first. Already I can see that the mountains level has a lot going on. That spaceship has come back, along with a couple other things, like this oddly familiar looking robot. The music here is pretty peaceful. Moving on through the level, some winged enemies appear. The lighter blue ones move towards you and claw at you, while the darker blue one is much more irritating to deal with. The damn thing just jumps back quickly whenever it attacks you. I had to use a heat beam just to take it out. Later on, some new enemies appear. There are these floating guys who fire projectiles at you, and a smaller enemy with an axe who's basically a faster version of the light blue squid creatures. Didn't see any more of those dark blue creatures, thank God. Eventually, all the enemies left, besides this big creature. It's just standing there. Never mind, it's dead now. At the end of this level, I found this ice dragon, who I thought was going to be a boss, but he's also just standing there. That is, until he started to speak. So it turns out that at least some of the monsters can talk. The ice dragon also joined me, and his name is Snowflake. I'll give him a try in the next level. The other mountain level has me in a very different place. I'm on a small island in a huge lake. The music here has a calm and almost mystical feeling to it. If you're wondering, Snowflake plays somewhat similar to the other two monsters, though he's somewhat slower and has a sort of ice/snowflake attack that replaces the heat beam. There's only one way to go, and that's into the water. In the lake, there's these little worm enemies that swim by. They don't do much, but they often appear in small groups. Later on, some bigger fish appear, and they move quite a bit faster than the worms. Turns out that Snowflake's ice attack can freeze enemies. This, along with the fact that Snowflake is stronger than the other two monsters, can be pretty useful to deal with multiple enemies at once. Now there's another island. I'm gonna go onto land and see what I can find. There's not much on this island besides this weird mechanical creature. It just sits there and waves its arms at me, so it's not that hard to beat. At the end of the level, there's a boss that burrows to the ground and spits out a bunch of rocks at you. It was much more challenging than the mechanical enemy. At times, it got pretty annoying since there was only a short time window between the attack and it going underground again. The castle level is pretty much as expected, though it's darker than what the icon on the board looks like. The enemies here are weird triangular creatures that charge at me with a spike on their head. They're pretty slow and weak though, so they're not too bad. Eventually I came across these stairs. I guess there must be multiple floors to this level. And indeed there are. The second floor has the same slow enemy, but it's joined by a new floating triangle that shoots stuff at me. They are just as weak, but they move quite a bit faster. More stairs and more triangles, moving on to the next floor. This looks like a rest floor. There's no enemies, and whoever was here was nice enough to leave me some health capsules. They only give about 1 bar of health each, but at least it's something. The enemies themselves don't drop any health. As for the statues in the painting, I have no idea. I'm gonna assume that the one on the left is some sort of holy figure, and the one on the right is some sort of king or queen figure. The painting could represent some sort of legend. This guy looks friendly, so I guess I'll say hi.
Please don't disturb me.
Guess he's busy. There's not much to say about the third floor anymore, so time to move on. The fourth floor is much more of a challenge, as the enemies from the previous floors have been replaced with upgraded versions that are more powerful. The floating ones are very agile and try to stab you with their arms, while the pyramid thing has a cannon that shoots projectiles at you. These upgraded forms may be more of a challenge, but they occasionally drop the same blue health capsules when you kill them, so the difficulty is evened out. At the end of the fourth floor is an open door. This must be the exit. Instead, it took me outside. This must be the very top of the tower. Well then, this must be the king, and he doesn't look very happy.
Oh, you are an intelligent and don't care. I will strike you down.
It's another boss. The Ice King is huge, and I'd better be wary of that huge sword he's wielding. Even with Anguilus' beam, he barely reacts, so I have no way of knowing if he's actually being damaged. His attacks are also powerful and often difficult to predict. Just one swing of the sword took out a good chunk of Anguilus' health. At times, he'll sit back down and send off a barrage of the stage's enemies at me. Anguilus is getting low, and I better get lucky and get some health capsules from these guys. The battle was intense as hell, but eventually I was able to defeat him. Those health capsules some of the enemies spawn really were my saving grace here. When he's defeated, the Ice King spoke again.
Commander, here I am. I hear this Lord believe. The fate of the eyes of the flood.
And just like that, he shattered, leaving the sword behind. But I have one question. What are these so-called eyes in the fog? I've only seen fog in one instance so far, and that was way back in the graveyard level. Are there more of those grave creatures out there, or something entirely new? I have no clue. Anyways, I guess I'll fight the bosses before exploring the last two levels. The first boss is Lapajan. Wow. This is supposed to be an ice world, and I'm fighting a rainbow dinosaur that wouldn't look out of place on a drug trip. Lapajan has a generic punching attack, and a yo-yo attack that he uses much more often. It doesn't do much damage, but it stuns me for some time, which gets very annoying. I also noticed that for whatever reason, he doesn't seem to be regenerating his energy. Now he's lost his color, and the letters on his back seem to be recharging his energy. He's invincible in this state, so I'm just gonna wait it out. After bringing his health to 0, he performs this last resort attack that takes out a ton of health. It's a good thing he died shortly after, otherwise I would have already lost Snowflake. Snowflake's out of commission for the time being, and I feel like Godzilla hasn't seen very much action, so I'm gonna fight the next boss with him. The next boss is Virtuous Speed. Everything's bright red in the versus screen, so I wonder if the fight will be the same. And a bad idea it was. His primary attack is to extend his torso at me, which is very irritating to deal with. Not only does it deal a fair amount of damage, but he uses it almost constantly, and he can easily pin me at the left side of the arena. He went back towards the right, thank God, but now his head's turning into something new. Now he's turned his head into a huge monster, which stands there and claws at me. This would be easy to avoid if it weren't for the fact that I only have a small amount of space to move around. Godzilla's health is getting way too low, too. God damn it, Godzilla's dead. Alright, I'm gonna have to think of a way to beat this guy, since neither Guylus or Snowflake are fit to fight him right now. Maybe Snowflake now that I think about it, since he's a higher level, but I'll have to heal him first. Alright, got Snowflake all healed up. Time to kick this guy's ass. He may be slower, but Snowflake's stronger and has a higher defense than Godzilla. It also turns out that Snowflake has another advantage. Using the ice attack actually slows Virtuous Speed down significantly. Utilizing this trick, the fight became much easier and I was able to beat him quickly. Now, if only I healed Snowflake first. Yeah, forget it. At least I have 2 monsters left, so I shouldn't be in too much danger, and I'm pretty close to the end. Time to explore the last 2 level types. The ice wall has me in a field of rocks with what looks like icy mountains in the background. It's pretty dark here, and while it isn't too difficult to see, it makes it somewhat unsettling. The music doesn't help either. It's mostly wind, with a faint, creepy melody. Still nothing but snow and rocks. This level's been going on for quite some time. I believe it's been about 3 minutes since I started, and more snow keeps covering the screen too. Also, I'm not sure if it's caused by the game or not, but I swear that I've been getting chills since I've started this level. It's like I'm actually stuck out in the cold. Geez, I would have never expected to see an enemy here, let alone a mini-boss. They're no pushover either, as it immediately attacks me with a powerful ice beam. It frequently runs around and claws at me too. It's a good thing I'm not frozen by the ice beam, otherwise this would have been a much harder fight. With everything else done, I can now enter the last level of Glacius. The final level is very different to what I expected. It's not dark or cold like the ice wall level, but the lack of any music and the dreary appearance does not give me a very good feeling about this place. At least Anguillus is by my side. Moving through the level, I found some broken enemies from the ice castle. They don't move or do anything at all, and attacking them once breaks them instantly. If this was an ice castle like the ones earlier in the world, what destroyed it? The moment this fog started to cover the screen, Anguillus ran off. Now, I'll be honest here. I did say I had a bad feeling coming into this level, but I really mean it at this point.
feel like I'm going to see something that I shouldn't, and I should just turn off the game. Then again, I won't find out what may lie beyond. No turning back now. I'm going in. The fog eventually covered up the whole screen, including the UI on top. And wait, what the hell is that? Dear God, it all feels like a blur. This shadowy thing constantly attacks me, and its quote unquote copies follow. Even when I think I've lost it, the copies still keep me on my toes. At times, I can barely differentiate them from the real thing. It's getting to be very, very stressful. I saw a thinner patch of fog for a second, and going in the direction of that path, I saw something new. A portal! This has got to be the exit. And I was right. Upon running to the middle of the structure, I was transported to some other place. Now that I've gotten to the end, I should... Wait a second. What the fuck? Okay, I knew this game is capable of altering itself for every person, but how the hell does it know my name? If it knows my name, then what else could it know about me? This game's suddenly throwing a lot more at me, and I feel like I have a lot more questions than answers at this point. For instance, what became of Anguilus? What was that shadow thing? And how does it know who I am? And is it what the Ice King was talking about when he mentioned eyes in the fog? And, no, never mind. I probably won't get all the answers at once. Regardless, I need to take another break from this game. I can't believe I'm coming back to this. I promised myself time and time again after my last playthrough that I would not continue this godforsaken game. Carl is getting really impatient for me to return the cartridge, so I really need to wrap this up quickly. I'll just do one world, and then I'm returning the game. Even if by some chance I die when playing this, I at least need to get a somewhat meaningful conclusion, because I can't just move on from that thing in Galatia saying my actual name. Next time I see it, I'll turn his ass inside out. The world name is Shlonkborb. That's not really something I'd call a planet, but what do I know? Let's check out this bitch. Holy shit! I got Godzilla and Mothra back! Weirdly enough, Godzilla and Mothra are very close to each other, but Mothra doesn't even have a tile. I assume you can play as both of them at the same time, similar to that of Donkey Kong Country with Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong. There's a few notable map icons on the board, as you can see. There's a bunch of construction helmets, what seems to be a jail cell, and generic mountain stages. I can't scroll past what I'm already at, so I assume I'll be able to view later levels after getting through this part of the map. I'm going to the mountain stage first, just to see what I'm getting into. Who the hell is this guy? Is this supposed to be like some sort of obscure Godzilla character? I do not recognize him at all. What the hell does that even mean? Jenna! You know, by all means, I should be super pissed about this. But at this point, I've come to expect this kind of shit. At least I know the game has remained unchanged since the last time I've played it. What can I say other than, what a shitload of fuck. Moving on, I went to the construction helmet stage with Anguilus, and it started off here, I guess. I can't really tell where I am or what I'm standing on, but I guess I should just keep moving on to find out what this is all about. Ah, so this must be what the stage is about. The ground is shifting a lot, so I assume we're on an aircraft of some kind. There's also a lot of these little creatures walking around and occasionally shooting projectiles. As far as I'm concerned, they can't seem to hurt you since you're always walking in between them. Honestly, even if I was instructed to, I wouldn't want to kill these things. I wonder why they're wearing construction helmets, though, since I don't see any actual construction going on here. Huh? Who are these guys? Oh, well, this was a pleasant surprise. Well, I'll be damned. This part of the game is actually kind of fun. It's basically standard Godzilla gameplay, walk to the right and destroy everything in your path, but it's really cool to work along these little guys, even if most of the stuff they destroy are cannon fodder enemies or obstacles. Even still, this is a really fun part of the game, and the music definitely helps that. Just take a listen to it, it is so good. That is probably got to be one of my favorite video game songs I've ever listened to. A warning screen? Well, this is new. I assume this means a mini-boss is coming, though, so I should probably prepare myself. This is the mini-boss? Was it unfair for me to expect something more threatening? Especially with a warning screen like that, you'd think that... You know what, I'll take it. Not sure how I'm gonna do that. Well, might as well use Anguilus' roar attack. Oh hey, I did it. That was easy, but once again, I'm not complaining. You know, as weird as it may sound, I'm probably gonna miss those guys if I never see them again after this. Just a guess, but I think I found the exit. Alright, that's 2 level types down. It's time to go check out the jail stage. Very mature there, game. Obviously, the stage is a prison, showing off all of these sorts of different varieties of kaiju. There's this weird spider demon here behind bars called Green. I'm really not familiar with him. I don't even know if his name is Green, there's just a plaque above him that says so. Moving through the level, I found a guard who looked quite familiar. Wait, oh god, is that... After pulling the lever, Lafajan walked away towards the right. I think you can figure out what happened next. But now, I gotta go and follow Lafajan. Why is he still alive? Man, this is a long level. There are these statues of figures I don't quite recognize, as well as a cell with even more people I don't recognize. There's this little guy lying down, as well as, I think, some sort of dinosaur wearing a hat. After he said that, he didn't follow up on that. Well, I guess I should just roll with this game's weirdness at this point. Huh. Well, I don't know who or what was imprisoned here, but I'm gonna hope that I don't see them later on. Ugh. Eventually, I got to this part of the level where Virtuitous Bee and Lafajan are having a coffee break. Out of pure reflex, I said, "Whoa, really?" To which they responded with, out of pure curiosity, I asked them about that weird Cyclops monster that was complaining in a jail cell earlier. That actually makes me feel better. Well, that exchange was actually pretty pleasant. I hope I see those guys again sometime. After that exchange, later in the level, I found the exit and left the building. Huh? Who's this? He doesn't look like a Godzilla monster. It's Gutsman! I gotta try this guy out as soon as possible. Well, I think I found out why the rest of the board wouldn't load or show itself. There's this giant sprite here that's constantly flickering. I tried to get a clear screenshot that shows enough of it, but this is all I could get. I assume it's a boss piece because, you can interact with it as such. I'll use Gutsman G on him just to test him out, as well as fight whatever the heck this thing is. Oh boy, I definitely came unprepared to say the least. Gutsman G has very little health, along with being at such a very low level. Well, and whatever this boss is supposed to be has such high power and life. I don't know if I'm gonna make it out of this or not. Ooh boy. Whoa! I cannot show anything that just happened. Oh, I don't think Gutsman. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, oh. So, after what happened, I got sent back to the board. I can't select Gutsman anymore, and Anguilus's board piece seems to have this red question mark flashing. I selected Anguilus's board piece, and oh, it's from this guy. I guess I must be getting a call from him with that device I got earlier. Well, Anguilus's piece is really close to the jail level, so I might as well pay them a visit. Ew, what happened here? Well, I guess I should move to one of the mountain stages first. I have a funny feeling that Dynamo guy I met earlier is behind this. So far, nothing new. Just the same backdrop as before, and not much else. Huh? Who's this? From what I can tell, these SARS guys really don't seem to like him, whoever he is. I mean, he does kind of have a punchable face. Well, that came out of nowhere. Obviously the SARS guys ran away, and honestly I can't blame them. So, I'm fighting this guy on my own. Holy crap, this guy hits hard. He's always using 3 attacks at once, and as far as I'm concerned, probably over half of them are undodgeable. He doesn't even move. It's like he's just sitting there and just to mock me. Oh god, he's got a tight hold on Anguilus. Is the game going to cheat me again? Oh my god. Well, that was certainly unexpected. He passed out afterwards, so I assume he used all his power in that beam he just shot. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't grateful for what he just did. Oh man, that was a close one. So there's a new icon on the board, and since it looks very similar to one of those things from Carl's playthrough, I'm going to assume that's a boss. I'll enter the stage with Snowflake because Gilus is clearly not suited to the situation, and I can't even use Gutsman. Oh boy, where do I even start with this one? Well, if this boss isn't the spitting image of underwhelming, I don't know what is. Don't be fooled by his slightly creepy appearance. He is just an absolute joke in battle. This is his only attack right here, this little lightning bolt looking attack, and you can easily walk out of the way of it. And since he doesn't move, it makes it even more pointless of an attack. Holy crap, that's a lot of health shaved off. Oh boy. I almost feel mean for doing that. Yeah, trust me, buddy, you're better off like this. And just like that, the game just stopped. I don't really know what I did wrong. The game just completely stopped. I tried blowing on the cartridge, I tried cleaning the cartridge, although for some reason I couldn't open it. I tried resetting the console. That's such a underwhelming ending. I'm not really sure how I feel about this game. I'm not sure if I like it better or I hate it. All things considered, I should probably return it to Carl before he gets too impatient. So, anyway, I'm James, signing off for now.